Hello everyone, welcome to UPSC Digital Library. Welcome to the complete course on Ancient Indian History. Ancient Indian History के complete course में आप सभी का स्वागत है. So far we have studied up to chapter 8. पिछले चैप्टर में हम लोगों ने संगम एज के बारे में पढ़ा था. In this chapter, we are going to study about the Gupta Empire. This is a very interesting and very important chapter from the exam's point of view. So without wasting much time, let's get started. One very important thing. Now in the previous video, I have requested that please write your mains answer in the comment section. Now I know many of you might have not watched the video yet, or maybe there might be a few students who might have been little scared or skeptical about writing the answer. That is absolutely fine. So by the time I am making this video, this is the list of students in the serial order who have written down their answers. So I would like to congratulate all of them. I really appreciate the hard work that you guys are putting. Sneha was the first lady to write down the answer in the morning. So for approximately from 9 a.m. up to let's say 8:55 p.m. or let's say 9 p.m. I have read the answers jotted down by you guys, and this is the list made. So Sneha, Shravan, Anshuman, Pavitra, Seema, Jamal, Sohail, Akhila, Srinivas, Harshvardhan, Pratish, Anju, Shubhangi, Parvati, Ashwini, Shivam, Krishnalal, Swapna, Nancy, Rebecca Murthy, Gopika, Mansa. Very well done. I really appreciate. And this is what I expect. So don't worry about the answer to the question that was asked in the previous video. Once more than 100 students will write down their answers, what I will do, I will come back to this video in the comment section. The topmost comment you guys can find out with my model answer. One more very important thing is that you guys, I will anyways be making a separate video on how to write answers. मैं एक अलग वीडियो बनाऊंगा जिसमें मैं ये एक्सप्लेन करूंगा कि आंसर्स कैसे लिखने हैं. But you guys must understand that the question was to comment. There was a statement written and then you were supposed to comment on it. There's a difference between comment. There's a difference between comment and discuss. There's a difference when I say analyze. All right. So all these terms, what you see, analyze, critically analyze, elucidate, discuss, comment, all these different terminologies expect us to write an answer in a different way. मतलब जब ये अलग-अलग terms आती हैं, then the demand of the question becomes different. मतलब हर एक question में, in a specific question, if comment gets added, or let's say if discussion gets added, or let's say critically analyze gets added, then the context of the question completely changes. So don't worry, when I will explain that how to write answers, I will explain this one by one. But very well done, keep writing the answers. In this video also, I'm going to ask a question related to mains and I'm going to put two questions related to preliminary examination. So let's get started. Now I have already told you guys that whenever we are studying history, don't try to mug it up. Obviously, you have to remember a few facts, but then you have to try to remember the entire this history as a chronology and story. Now, if you guys remember, I told you that two times in the history of India, हमारे भारतवर्ष में दो बार ऐसा होगा, two times, that we will attain a sort of political unity. All right. Once it happened during the Mauryan time, and I told you that for the second time it will happen during the Gupta period. Once it happened during the Mauryan time, and second time it will happen during the Gupta period. And hence now we will study about the Gupta period, the Gupta Empire in this chapter. You can see the vast empire made by the Gupta. Now let us go back to the past. We studied about the Mauryans. We know that from the Ashoka time, he embraced Buddhism and then he was not much focused into his army. And his successors, who were ruling on the eastern and the western side, they were also not very efficient. And hence, if you guys remember, we talked about Pushyamitra Shung, who was also the founder of the Shung dynasty. He took over the Mauryan Empire. And after that, once this dynasty was ended, then the Kanwa dynasty started. All right. And I told you that we do not know much about the Kanwa dynasty. And after Shung dynasty, after some time, we will study about the Gupta period. If you guys remember the previous videos. So let's start about the Gupta Empire now. Now, there are various resources, plenty of evidences through which we can come to know about this Gupta period, through the literary sources, through the books also, through epigraphical resources also. Epigraphical means, I have already discussed this in the previous video, let's say inscriptions, which are embedded on stones or on pillars. All right. And through various numismatic sources also. Now, for those of you who do not know what is numismatic, this means study about coins. So during the Gupta period, we will see tremendous amount of coins. बहुत सिक्के बनाए जाएंगे पर्याप्त मात्रा में गुप्ता पीरियड में. And from that also we will come to know about the history of the Gupta period. And we also come to know through the Purans which were written down during the Gupta period. Now there are some other literary works also. Apart from that, there was a Chinese traveler, Fa-hien, who also visited India during the reign of Chandragupta II. Who is this Chandragupta II? Don't worry, we will talk about him. Now, he also had put up his valuable comments on the social life, economic life, and the religious conditions of the Gupta period. We will study about Fa-hien also. Alright, so let's continue. Now, apart from these literary sources, now the epigraphical sources which I was just talking, जिस epigraphical sources के बारे में बात कर रहा था, जैसे कि inscriptions. Now, two very important inscriptions are there. One is Mehrauli iron pillar and the other one is Allahabad pillar. All right. The Mehrauli iron pillar, this tells about the achievements of Chandragupta II. All right. In the Tamil Nadu book, it is mentioned Chandragupta I. That is wrong. You have to correct it. Go to your book and you guys can correct it. The right statement is it shows the achievement of Chandragupta II. Now, if I talk about the Allahabad pillar inscription, okay, this Mehrauli iron pillar, this is in Delhi. And this is about Allahabad pillar inscription. I have already shown you this pillar when we were talking about the Ashoka region. अशोका रेंज. जब हम अशोका के बारे में पढ़ रहे थे तब हम इसके बारे में एक बार देख चुके हैं. नाउ दिस अशोका पिलर, दो दिस वाज एस्टैब्लिश्ड एंड इरेक्टेड बाय अशोका, ये अशोका पिलर ये अशोका के द्वारा खड़ा करवाया गया था, मगर फिर भी दिस इज एन इंपॉर्टेंट सोर्स फॉर द रेन ऑफ समुद्रगुप्ता. ये हमको समुद्रगुप्ता के बारे में बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट इंफॉर्मेशन देता है. तो इस पिलर में हमको अशोका के बारे में भी पता चलेगा, समुद्रगुप्ता के बारे में भी पता चलेगा. लेकिन आप याद रखना, predominantly this is important for knowing about Samudragupta. For knowing about Ashoka, we have other important evidences as well. I hope this point is clear to all of you. Apart from these achievements, whatever we see on these pillars, the coins have also played a very important role, because on the coins there are mentions about various legends and figures through which we come to know that what was the status of the kings at those time, and moreover the various titles used by the kings at that time, the sacrifices performed by them are also mentioned in the coins. All right, let's continue. Now, this is that Mehrauli pillar which is in Delhi, about which I was talking. The best part about this pillar is that though this has survived for thousands of years, the best part is this has not rusted even in the presence of sun and the rain. This has not rusted even till now. This shows the magnificent work done by the people of those times. Now, this is about the Allahabad pillar. Now, this is what I was trying to tell you, that even though you will find about the Ashokan inscriptions also, the important part of this Allahabad pillar is about the achievements of Samudragupta. This is very, very important. Remember this, guys. All right. Now, let us understand this story, this chronology about this Gupta Empire. Now, Chandragupta I was a very important ruler of this dynasty. But remember one thing, that he was not the founder. Who was the founder of Gupta Empire? Shri Gupta. And then his son was Ghatotkacha. Now they were known as Maharajas, but there not much details are mentioned about them to study. All right. So the next ruler was Chandragupta I, and through him we come to know a lot about the Gupta Empire. Now he had done a lot of conquest, means he had done a lot of fights and wars also, but he had also strengthened his position through matrimonial alliance. मतलब विवाह करके भी, जैसे हम लोगों ने मौर्यन एम्पायर्स में देखा था, वैसे ही यहाँ पर भी he also married and then he tried to make alliance. He had done alliance with Lichavis also, and then he married Kumar Devi, the princess of that family. All right, this gave him the power and the prestige. And about his conquest, it is also mentioned in the Mehroli Iron Pillar. So let's say if I talk about Mehroli Iron Pillar, and if I talk about, let's say, Allahabad Pillar. So remember one thing, in the Mehroli Iron Pillar, we are talking about the achievements of Chandragupta II. All right, again, that's what I told you. Now, before I have corrected that Mehroli Iron Pillar is related to Chandragupta II. So whatever it's written over here, this is wrong. All right, so this context I have taken from Tamil Nadu book, so there's some error in this book. No worries, as long as I am teaching, I will keep on correcting those things, so nothing to be worried about. Sir, just now you told that Shri Gupta was the founder of Gupta dynasty, but over here you have written that Chandragupta is considered to be the founder of Gupta era. Why is it so? It is because you have to understand there is a difference between dynasty and era. I will tell you. Let's say my name is Abhijit Singh Arora. I'm just giving a hypothetical example. Now my surname is Arora. I am not a king, not any emperor. All right. So let's say if I start something, okay. So I will be starting a dynasty. Let's say my grandson, great grandson, or whatever it is. All right. Now don't take it in terms of comparing between boys and girls. That why you're not talking about granddaughter or great granddaughter, because I'm trying to give you an example in this context. So if I talk about my grandson or somebody, if somebody over here becomes a ruler, so they will start an era, but they will be a part of my dynasty. All right, but this is an hypothetical example. Don't take it in literal meaning. That is why Chandragupta I is considered to be the founder of era, because he was the first known great ruler about whom we know. Now these people, Shri Gupta and Ghatotkacha, we do not know much about them, but still he is the founder of the dynasty. I hope this point is clear to all of you. Now, after that, the now he is Samudragupta. He is also regarded as the greatest ruler. We will come to know about it why. And as I have already told you that in the Allahabad pillar inscription, we come to know about him. I have already showed you this in the previous slides. Now, if I talk about the stages of his military campaigns. Now, for those of you who do not know what a campaign is, campaign means you have a goal in which you fight and try to conquer some territory. All right. Campaign could be social campaigns also, related to different things in which you have a goal and you have a target. You try to achieve that. Okay. Now, about Samudragupta, he fought against some of the North Indian rulers, some of the South Indian rulers, and again with the leftover of the North Indian rulers. Let us have a look at it one by one. In the first campaign, which was about the North Indian rulers, he defeated Achyuta and Nagsena. All right, this is important. Only this much is absolutely fine for this. Now, understand one thing. These Gupta rulers, initially they were in the Gangetic Valley. So this Achyuta and Nagsena, what you see, they were in the upper Gangetic Valley. So let's say Samudragupta is here. This is in the Gangetic Valley. So he fought against Achyuta and Nagsena who were in the upper Gangetic Valley. All right, he defeated them and he annexed their states. Now this is very important. Why? क्योंकि जब वो नॉर्थ इंडियन रूलर्स के अगेंस्ट लड़ेंगे, he will annex those territories, he will capture those territories. But when he will fight against South Indian rulers, he will fight against them, but he will give them back their kingdoms, but under his own supervision. I hope this important difference is clear to all of you. Here over here, let's talk about the South Indian kingdoms whom he fought with. Now, it's also mentioned in the Allahabad pillar also that he had defeated 12 rulers in the South India. And these are the names mentioned, not important to remember. You can just read it once. Now, as I have already told you, his policy in the South India was different. He did not destroy and annex those kingdoms. No, he defeated them, but gave them back their kingdoms. But he told that they have to acknowledge his suzerainty. Suzerainty means they have to accept him as their master or the supreme ruler. I hope this point is clear. Now, if you guys remember, I told you that his ruling policy was into three steps. First, he defeated a few North Indian rulers, then South Indian or Dakshin Pantha rulers, then the remaining North Indian rulers. So these are the names of the nine North Indian rulers, out of which two he already destroyed in the first stage. In the third stage, he defeated the other members also. Now, after his victories, he started performing the Ashwamedh sacrifice. So that means that Brahmanism again we can see here in the Gupta period also. And the Buddhism and Jainism, the impact of them was further declined, because here we see a lot of worship related to Vishnu, which we also say as Vaishnavism. I hope this point is clear. And as he was very visionary, he wanted to conquer a lot of land. He is regarded as the Indian Napoleon. I hope this is clear to all of you. Now, one more important thing here is, if I talk about this Samudragupta, this is nothing but this that third stage again, that this is the same slide. Here what I'm trying to tell you is, you can find magnificent gold coins over here, which was produced on a large scale. This shows that it was a very prospering, India was very much prospering. India बहुत फल फूल रहा था. इतने ज्यादा मात्रा में गोल्ड कॉइन्स जो थे वो नॉर्मल ट्रेडिंग के लिए यूज किए जा रहे थे. आई होप दिस पॉइंट इज क्लियर टू ऑल ऑफ यू. And one very last important point is, on his gold and silver coins, he wrote restorer of the Ashwamedh. That means he was trying to tell to the world that, see, I am a firm believer of Brahmanism. Okay. Now this is nothing, it is just telling about the extent that upper Gangetic Valley also he defeated those North Indian rulers, and then up to central and the southern part also he came. Now up to the Pallava kingdom he had reached in the south, where those rulers have acknowledged his suzerainty. I hope this point is clear. This we have already discussed. Now if I talk about this king, all right, I'm not talking about his empire now, I'm talking about the extent of this king. Now, one very important thing about is that he was very much proficient in music also. And it is not just that he was a great king who was very good in fighting, he was having a lot of interest in art and culture also. He was having a lot of interest in music, in poems and all that. And he was a patron of many poets. मतलब वो कई जो कवि थे उनको बहुत सम्मान करता था. One of them whom he used to praise was Hari Sena. All right. And he is also remarkably very much famous for promoting the Sanskrit literature, obviously because he was promoting Brahmanism, and hence as a result Sanskrit literature को तो बढ़ावा मिल ही रहा था, वैष्णविज्म को भी बढ़ावा मिल रहा था, ये बात भी हम कर चुके हैं. Now, though he was promoting Vaishnavism a lot, but still he was a liberal king. Why? Because Vasu Bandhu, who was a Buddhist scholar, he patronized him also, and he had some keen interest in knowing about Buddhism also. Though he was a follower of Vaishnavism, he wanted to know about Buddhism as well. Now, we studied about Chandragupta I, then about Samudragupta, and then after Samudragupta came Chandragupta II. Samudragupta was succeeded. Many students do not understand this term. Some people, what they start feeling is Samudragupta was succeeded. So what students start feeling is Chandragupta II came first and after that came Samudragupta. No. First Chandragupta I, then Samudragupta, and third Chandragupta II. Some people, there's a debate going on. They believe that Chandragupta II, he had a elder brother named Ramagupta. They both fought and then Chandragupta II ruled. Anyways, that is not very important because there's not much historical proof with us. Now, Chandragupta II also, he was also a great ruler. He had done a lot of work in terms of diplomacy and warfare. Now, he married Kuber Naga, who was a Naga princess. And one more important thing was, he gave his own daughter Parvati in marriage to the Vakataka prince Rudrasena II. Now why he did was because this was important for the geographical perspective. This was important from the strategic point of view, because Vaktakas, they occupied a strategic position in the south. Now in the first chapter I have already told you that when we study history, geography plays a very important role, and he was the king who realized the importance of geography. There were other kings also who realized that, and then that is why he married his daughter to the Vakataka prince, because he wanted himself to be secured from most of the locations. I hope this point is clear. All right. Now, this is mentioned about the Western, his conquest on the Western India. This is not very important to know. But then, what important thing you want to understand from here is that he started calling himself as Vikramaditya. So let's say if in the question anywhere it asks you about that, write a brief paragraph about Vikramaditya, or then in preliminary examination if something comes, then you have to mention that Vikramaditya was none other than Chandragupta II. One more important thing was that he was also known as destroyer of Shakas, because whatever Shakas were left over, he fought against them and then destroyed them. On the western side, now he just expanded his boundaries, and these were some of the. This is Baruch. This in the Tamil Nadu book it is written in this way, but this is Baruch. So these are some of the seaports. All right. This I'm talking about the Western India. If I talk about this map, this is the eastern side, this West Bengal, what you see, this is this Gujarat side. All right, western side. So this page is about the Western India, what I'm talking about. And if I talk about the northwestern side also, over here also, he had tried to protect the boundaries. And during his time, the Gupta period reached its zenith, and you will find various kinds of gold coins under this Chandragupta II. All right. Now, one more thing. As I told you, like in the previous slide also you saw, we were talking about the western parts which were conquered. हम लोग पश्चिमी shore की बात कर रहे थे. Now he defeated Vangas also. He crossed the Sindh river and then he conquered Bactria. Bactria also we have discussed in the past chapters when we were talking about the post-Mauryans. Those of you, this is in northwestern part. Now, those of you who want to know where is this present Bactria, I don't see this in the map. Now, Bactria is the present day Afghanistan. All right. For those of you who want to relate this with the present time. Okay. Now, in the western Malwa, Gujarat, these all became a part of the Gupta Empire in his time. And he crossed that Hindu Kush up to the Bactria, that is up to Afghanistan. And here also up to eastern Bengal he included, and then the southern part of Narmada river that formed his boundary. I hope this is clear. You already know about Narmada and Tapti river. We have already discussed this in the previous chapters. Okay. Now what happens is Fa-hien from China visits India. Now he was a monk. He wanted to study about Buddhism. Let's see how much he can know about, because Chandragupta II and whatever rulers we are knowing about, they were following Vaishnavism. That means they were following Brahmanism. Then will they allow him to stay in India and study? Yes. Chandragupta II was liberal and he allowed him to stay for some years in India and study about the Buddhism culture, whatever he want to study. Now, if I talk about Fa-hien, he came to India through the land route. So this is the path what he followed. Now don't get confused. This Khotan, Kashgar, what you see, these appear to be Indian names, but both these are in China. Gandhara, you already know, this is in northwestern part, and from there he entered Punjab and then he came up to the Gangetic Plains. These are the prominent places where he has visited. Again, just have a reading, not very important. But while going back, he went through the sea route. First he visited Ceylon and then Java and then back to China. For those of you who do not know what Ceylon is Sri Lanka. And Java is island. You guys must be aware about this. As I have already told you, he came over here to see the land of Buddha and to collect information about Buddhism. Now, the problem during this time was during Gupta period, Sanskrit was becoming predominant. This Brahmanism was becoming predominant. So he stayed in Patliputra for 3 years. He studied Sanskrit and then he had copied those texts into his language and then he went back. He gives us a lot of detail about religious, social and economical life of the Gupta Empire. Now, one very important thing is, now you do not have to consider all his statements to be correct. At times he has exaggerated also. Why? Because he was against Brahmanism and was with the Buddhist ideology. So obviously he might exaggerate and tell something also. So we have to be careful when we are reading about this. But at the same time, what we must know is he has never ever mentioned about Chandragupta II in his accounts. Whatever he has jotted down, he has tried to avoid Chandragupta II. Why? Because he was not interested in political affairs. I hope this point is clear. Now, this is again a kind of taunt, you can say. He used to refer to the Gangetic Valley as land of Brahmanism because obviously over here the Gupta emperors, they used to promote Brahmanism. Okay. Now, in some part of northwestern India, you will find that Buddhism was still fine. Why? Because we have already seen that Gandhara art and Mathura art. This we have previously read in the previous chapters. Mathura art, over here you will find Jainism might be fine, but in the northwestern Gandhara, there you will see that Mahayana Buddhism that was becoming prominent. This we have already studied. All right. Ab, let's try to look at the things from the different perspective now. अब ये जो चंद्रगुप्त टू थे, now as I have already told you this, that he was also known by the name Vikramaditya. Now he also was very very important in promoting culture, art, architecture. Why? Various great literary figures such as Kalidas were present in his court. All right, and it is during his time that the Gupta Empire is regarded as the golden age. All right, it is regarded as the golden age. Why golden age? Because again there's a revival, there's a punarjanam, एक पुनर्जन्म होता है of literature and art and culture. I hope this point is clear to all of you. Again, there's a high level of cultural progress in this time, and that is why it is referred to as the golden age. Now if I talk about the successors of Chandragupta II, अगर मैं इनके आने वाले successors की बात करूं तो कुमार गुप्ता थे इनके जो बेटे थे, and again you will find a lot of coins about him. And why Kumar Gupta is important is for the foundation of Nalanda University. This is important. Now don't get confused here. A wealthy tribe Pushyamitra. Don't get confused with Pushyamitra Shung. That was different, and this is a different tribe. Okay, don't get confused. Now it is during his time. All right. It was during his time that a branch of Han, who were from Central Asia, started attacking India. But his successor, Skandagupta, had really faced the Han invasion. मतलब कुमार गुप्ता के समय में Han invasion शुरू हो गया था, लेकिन उनके सक्सेसर, उनके बाद जो आए थे स्कंदगुप्ता, उनके समय में हन इन्वेजन बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ गया था, एंड दिस लेड टू द डिक्लाइन ऑफ द गुप्ता एम्पायर. आई होप दिस पॉइंट इज क्लियर. सो द गुप्ता एम्पायर डिक्लाइन ड्यू टू द फॉरेन इन्वेजन बाय द हंस विच वेयर नेटिव टू सेंट्रल एशिया. अब ये जो चंद्रगुप्ता टू थे, द्वितीय थे, इनके बाद के ये जो राजा थे कुमार गुप्ता एंड स्कंद गुप्ता, नाउ दे वर नॉट वेरी प्रोमिनेंट, दे वर नॉट वेरी प्रॉस्पेरस अनलाइक देयर प्रिसीडर किंग्स. अपने पूर्वजों की तरह वो उतने इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं थे. ड्यूरिंग कुमार गुप्ता, नाउ silver coins became more important. Earlier gold coins were very important in Chandragupta II and in the previous kings. During Kumar Gupta, silver coins became important. And then when Skand Gupta came, ये लोगों को दिखाना चाहते थे, he wanted to show to the people that no, I will give you back gold coins. But then it is being said that the gold coins under Skand Gupta were not very pure, and it has a lot of mixing being done. All right, I hope this point is clear. So this is about what I was telling you guys. Don't forget about after Chandragupta II came Kumar Gupta, and his successor was Skand Gupta. All right. So as I already told you about Kumar Gupta, he started issuing silver coins. Now ऐसा नहीं है कि silver coins पहले नहीं थे. Previously also there were silver coins, but silver coins became prominent here. And during Skand Gupta, again he tried to start golden coins, but then it had impurities. I hope this point is clear to all of you. Now, overall, as far as the Gupta period is concerned, the Gupta Empire is concerned, let us try to have a quick look at the administration. जो गुप्ता समय के जो राजा थे, the Gupta kings, they used to have very big names like Maharaja Dhiraj, Parmeshwar. Parmeshwar means God. Samrat, Chakravartin. Chakravartin means who had been victorious in all the directions. All right. Now, like all the kings, who is assisted by a council of administration ministers, here also the same thing happened. Now here also the Gupta kings used to have a chief minister, Senapati, we already know about Senapati, and other important officials. Sandhi Vigrah. Now he was most probably a foreign affairs minister who was taking care of the foreign trade. One more important thing over here was Kumar Amatyas or Ayukt. These were the provincial officers who were taking care of the administrations. All right. Provincial officers, remember this. Provincial governors were, who were the provincial governors? Bhuktis. And they were also known as Uparikas. All right. Now, generally, they were the princes. Let's say among the entire nation, there will be various small provinces, and over there, who will be the prominent small rulers who have accepted Gupta rule as their prominent ruler. मतलब जिन लोगों ने गुप्ता रूल को एक्सेप्ट कर लिया था अपने राज में, generally those princes were asked to be the provincial governors. Now under this also you guys can see here this bhuktis, that is the province. This was divided into vishyas, which is also known as district. This is important. Now vishyapatis were administering the districts, and nagar shreshtis were taking care of the city administration. Remember this. Vishyapatis was governing the district, whereas the executive part, this is related to law making, legislature. The executive part of the city administration was with Nagar Shreshtis. And in the district, obviously there will be many villages under a district. So those villages were under the control of Gramikas. I hope this is clear to all of you. If I talk about the social life, now the Varn system, caste system became rigid. Obviously, when Brahmanism will come over here, again the caste system will become rigid, and Gupta Empire was also a part of it, जहां पर caste system rigid हो गया. Brahmins occupied the top of the ladder. It's obviously natural. Untouchability also started beginning in the Gupta Empire. All right, Fa-hien has also mentioned about this, but then that is fine. Now, the miserable conditions of Chandalas is mentioned by this Chinese traveler. So this was one of the social sections which was segregated from the society, as they were considered to be untouchables. Right. All right. And this is mentioned by Fa-hien. Okay. Now, the women's position also started declining during the Gupta Empire, and it became miserable. And they were even prohibited from studying the religious texts also, and Purans जो थे ये लिखे गए थे Gupta period में. In that it is mentioned that no women should not be allowed to read this religious text, and they were prohibited. And one more important thing over here was, though it was insisted that they should be protected and they should be treated by men, in many books it is written, but then practically that was not happening. Now this Swayamvar, what was practiced before, Swayamvar means, let's say there's a king, and let's say he wants his daughter to be married. So many prince will come over here, and they will have a competition. Who will win will get married to the daughter of this king. Now that was given up, and Manusmriti has suggested, this is also a writing in which it is mentioned that they should try to get their daughters married as early as possible. So we also see a case of child marriage starting during the Gupta Empire. I hope this is also clear. It's quite obvious that Brahmanism started during the Gupta period, and it had two branches, Vaishnavism and Shaivism. This is about Lord Shiva, this is about Lord Vishnu. Most of the Gupta kings, they were Vaishnavites, that means worship of Lord Vishnu. They used to perform Ashwamedh sacrifice also. This we have already studied. I already told you that Purans were composed during this period. Now apart from that, Fa-hien has also told that there was a decline about Buddhism in the Gangetic Valley. I have already told you this. But then Buddhism was still fine in the northwestern part, where Mahayana Buddhism was emerging out. All right. But then there were a few Buddhist scholars which were patronized by the Gupta kings. That is not very important. If I talk about Jainism, it was prospering in the western and the southern India, not in the Gangetic or the central India. This point should be very clear to all of you. Okay. And this great Jain council, it was conducted at Vallabhi, the Vallabhi council, where this Jain canon means the writing, all right, their sacred book, it was also written by the Shwetambars. Hope this point is clear. Now, very, very important part of this. Many of you students keep complaining to me, what about art and culture? See, understand one thing. Art and culture is not a different subject. It is a part of history. When we are studying history, we'll study about this society, we'll study about economy, we'll study about religion. When we'll study about religion, we'll study about some of the monuments, and that is only art and culture. We'll study about their art, dance forms, and all those things. Some of them will be covered as a part of this. Whatever will be left over, we will study it separately. But understand, art and culture is not a separate subject. This is because of this coaching marketing style that they have started projecting art and culture as a different subject. Otherwise, art and culture is a part of history. It should be read with the history, and that is what I have also tried. In the previous chapters also you have seen I have also already mentioned about Gandhara art, Mathura art. So wherever it is important, I have already included that. Okay. I already told you that during the Gupta period, it is known as the golden age because there's a lot of progress that has happened in terms of art and culture, science, literature. All right. And few scholars call this period as Renaissance also. Renaissance matlab Punarjanam. All right. New birth. I hope this is clear. Okay. Now, this is wrong. This statement is written in Tamil Nadu book. It is mentioned here that it should be remembered that there is no dark period. But I don't agree to this. If you guys remember, after Mauryans came Shung, after Shung came Kanwa, and after Kanwa came the Gupta Empire. And during Kanwa dynasty, we do not know much about them, and this is considered to be a dark age. And hence, this statement is wrong. But still, I have mentioned this here so that you guys can cut it down in your Tamil Nadu book. All right, so let's now try to understand about the art and architecture. Now, when we will talk about art and architecture, you will find various kinds of temple architecture also. You might have heard about Nagara, you might have heard about Dravidian. All right, so let us try to understand. Most of them have been in when the Huns invaded and when the Gupta Empire declined. So they have destroyed many architecture, but still some of them have been preserved और कुछ बच गए थे. So let us first try to understand what is this Nagara, Dravida, and Vesara. I will explain you this in the easiest way. You will not find the easiest explanation anywhere else. It's a challenge to you. Basic thing. Nagara is an example of North Indian temples. Very simple. Dravida is an example of South Indian temples. Sir, what about Vesara? Vesara is a mixture in which both the styles are being mixed. Hope this point is clear. One more important thing is if you look at the North Indian temples, they have a dome shaped, they have circles. All right. And this biggest one, what you see over here, this is known as Shikhar. Okay. If you look at the South Indian Dravidian style architecture, they do not have dome shaped. Instead, they are in the shape of pyramid. See, look, this is in the shape of pyramid. If you see here, and this biggest structure, what you see, it is not called Shikhar. In the North India, it is called Shikhar. In South India, it is called Vimana. All right, this is very, very important. Another important thing is in North India, first a height or base is made. Over here, you can see this is the height or the base above the plinth on which the temple is made. In the South India, it is no, this is not prominent. Just immediately above the plinth, you will see the temple. I hope this point is clear. Okay. For your information, I have made a small table. You guys can read this. Okay. For those of you who do not know what this Gopuram means an entrance room. Alright, in North India, directly you will enter. In South India, there is a room which is just specifically for entrance. And there will be water tank also present. In North India, water tank is absent. So you can read this. It's very simple. This is North Indian, this is South Indian. You guys can read that. Okay. So now, if I talk about this Gupta Empire, there was not much influence of the Gandhara style. Gandhara style, as it was on the northwestern frontier, it was having a lot of impact on the from the Central Asian Greeks people. All right, so that is not seen over here. Only this much is important. And this is one thing written that Bithari monolithic pillar of Skand Gupta is also remarkable. For those of you who do not know what is monolithic is, anything that is made from a carved out from a single stone. All right, जो भी चीज सिर्फ एक पत्थर, मान लीजिए एक बड़ा सा पत्थर है, इसी को तोड़ तोड़कर अगर हम जो भी बनाएंगे, दैट विल बी कॉल्ड एज अ मोनोलिथिक. मोनो मीन्स सिंगल, लिथिक मीन्स स्टोन. that is carved out of a single stone. Hope this point is clear to all of you. Okay. Apart from, if I talk about this temple architecture, even metallurgy was very important. And obviously, if I talk about the coins also over here, that also shows us a lot of great detailing which has been done. Another thing is, obviously, this Mehroli iron pillar, Delhi iron pillar, this is rust free. This we have already discussed. So this is a completely magnificent architecture what we see over here. All right. Now this is one example of a painting which is inside the Bark caves. All right. Bark caves also we have already seen. For those of you, you can try to find out in the previous videos. Okay. One more important thing over here was, now various kinds of gold coins were minted during Gupta period. Gupta period में ही सबसे ज़्यादा gold coins mint किए गए थे. And if you look at the sharpness with which these gold coins were designed, you will be very much happy and surprised to see the beauty. All right. जितने skill उसमें use किए गए थे, the greatness you will find in this numismatic art. Numismatic means study about the coins. All right. So how beautifully the kings have been drawn over here. All right. How they have been inscribed in the coins. How paintings have been inscribed in the coins. It shows how much remarkable this coin were in the Gupta Empire. Hope this point is also clear. If I talk about literature, obviously Sanskrit was becoming very, very prominent because Brahmanism was at its peak. If I talk about Samudragupta, as I've already told you, he himself was a great poet. And obviously, he used to patronize a lot of scholars, and Harisena was one of them. Now, if I talk about Chandragupta II, Chandragupta II, he had Navaratnas in his court. All right. And that is why during his time we say was the golden age. Okay. Kalidas was very important among them. And his Sanskrit Dama Shakuntala, this is very, very important masterpiece. This is considered as one of the best books among the 100 in the world. All right. This is about the other two plays that he had written. And very important thing here is this is the name about the other two epics. The Ritu Samha and Meghduta, where is lyrics? These are very important. All right. This is about the literary sources. Some other important thing was Vishakha Datta was also celebrated author of this period. Two Sanskrit dramas, Mudrakshasa and Devi Chandraguptam, was written by him. This is also very, very important. It has been asked at times in the examination. The Panchtantra stories, alright, if you go to railway stations and those places, you might have heard about these names. Panchtantra Bachchon Ki Kahaniyan stories. These were composed by Vishnu Sarma and it was done during the Gupta period. That is why golden period. Remember this, guys. This was the golden age. Alright. And Buddhist author Amar Sima, he compiled a lexicon. For those of you who do not know what a lexicon is, this is a word book. Amar Kosh. Kosh means dictionary. Obviously, if there will be a lot of words compilations, it should be called as a dictionary. Hope this point is clear. Purans in their present form were composed in this period. There were total 18 Purans. These are the names of the important Purans. Bhagavata, Vishnu, Vayu, Matsya Puran. Alright. Mahabharata and Ramayana. Now, most of you might be knowing that though it were written, but then later on it were rewritten and many chapters were added. So the present form, whatever we know about Ramayana and Mahabharata, the final touch was given during the Gupta Empire. Hope this point is clear to all of you. If I talk about science, brilliant things happened in terms of science also. Nobody, I think so, would be here sitting over here and watching this video who might not have heard about Aryabhatta. He was a great mathematician, great astronomer. His book Aryabhatiya he wrote in 499 AD. Now, one more important thing, he had scientifically explained about the solar and lunar eclipse. All right. And he declared that the earth is spherical in shape. But then that was not accepted at his time. Okay. But later on, we should be very proud that, see, so long, many years back, this genius, he had already told that the sun is not flat, it is spherical. You remember Alexander the Great, he came to India. Why he came to India? Because he thought that India is the eastern boundary and he thought that if he will conquer India, he would have conquered the entire world. Though he failed because he died. Now see, Aryabhatta, he told that earth was a sphere. Very important. All right. In the field of medicine, there were three great medical people. All right. Chakra, Susruta, these two were before the Gupta age. Vagbhata, the third person who worked in the field of medicine, he lived during the Gupta period. All right. This is what he had written, which has the summary of the 8 branches of medicine. So this is an important question for all of you. I request all of you to write down the answer in the comment section. If more than 100 students will write the answer, after a few days I will come here to the comment section, write down the model answer. Don't worry if you write the right answer or wrong answer. There's nothing to worry about it. Why? Because see, we will learn from our mistakes. And if anybody will make fun, I'm going to remove those people from our UPSC Digital Library platform. One more very important thing over here is that understand the question. Okay, read the question carefully, then answer. Okay, I have seen two students, they have copied the answer from somewhere on the internet and they have pasted. It is clearly visible to me. Two students, it might appear to be a good answer, but I can make out that it has been copied from the internet. Please don't do that. I will not tolerate that. Okay, so the question is discuss. Last question was comment. This is discuss. Discuss the provincial and district administrative units of the Gupta Empire with the designations and functions of the officer. 2014, 15 marks, 250 words. जो गुप्ता एम्पायर के समय में जो भी प्रोविंशियल और डिस्ट्रिक्ट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन होता था, उनकी डेजिग्नेशन और उनके फंक्शन के साथ उसको आप डिस्कस कीजिए. 2014 में आ चुका 15 मार्क्स का 250 वर्ड्स में. होप दिस पॉइंट इज क्लियर. नाउ लेट अस हैव टू क्वेश्चंस फॉर our prelims practice. All right, which of the following shows the characteristics of the Dravida style of architecture? You remember we have studied about Dravida and Nagsena kind of temples. It is characterized by a beehive-shaped curvilinear tower called shikhar, made up of layers upon layer of architecture. It has pyramid shaped, both A and B. Only A. You can pause the video and write your answer, then you can resume. All right. So the right answer is it has pyramidal shape. I'm talking about Dravidian style. This is in South India. I have already told you in South India it has pyramid shape. This shikhar, this curvilinear, this dome shape, this is in North India. So this is not the answer. This has to be the answer. Obviously, if A is in the option, it will get eliminated. Only A, it will get eliminated. Answer will be B. Next question. Allahabad pillar inscription is associated with which of the following? UPSC Prelims 2006 question. Mahapadmananda, Chandragupta Maurya, Ashoka, Samudragupta. You can pause and write the answer. All right. So the right answer is Samudragupta. What? Sir, Allahabad pillar inscription, it was erected by Ashoka and you are saying it is not associated with Ashoka. See guys, this is how UPSC will test your knowledge. I have told you this when I was explaining this. Though it will have information about Ashoka and Samudragupta both, we are not emphasizing on Ashoka. It is associated with Samudragupta. We are referring to that inscription to know about Samudragupta. There are various other resources through which we will come to know about Ashoka, and hence D is the right answer. Please listen here once again carefully. Don't ask about Telegram. Don't ask about Facebook. Please connect with us on Instagram. And if you guys want to share about our platform to maximum of your friends so that everybody can prepare for free, please do so, because this is what my aim is, to help maximum aspirants who cannot afford coaching fees. Thank you everybody for watching. God bless you.